Mr. Sinha, thank you very much for joining us from Delhi. I know that you were on roster duty in Rajya Sabha today, so appreciate you taking time out to be with us here. Today, I'm not going to be the one asking you questions. I've got 4 very eminent panelists here who are going to be doing the job. Let me toss it across to you, Samir. As Sonia said, Samir has a great sense of humor, is candid, so he's going to kick things off. And your question for Jayant Sinha?
No, I'm going to ask him a soft question first just to get things rolling.
Warmed up.
First question only. So, Jayant, hi.
Samir, we've known each other long enough that I don't need the soft question. And of course, I have question hour in Parliament tomorrow, so this is going to warm me up nicely.
No, that'll be from the second question. Anyway, for the first question, after this GST bill is passed, what are the specific steps that are needed to actually implement it? Because I keep reading that you guys plan to start it on April 1, which I still find absolutely impossible, even if it is passed in the current session of Parliament. Because there's so many other steps, and that's what I want to get some handle on.
Yeah, there are 2 parts to this, of course. On the one hand, we have the implementation, which includes, the GSTN, which is the network that will actually be the backbone for the entire system. It includes the training of the field formations. It includes all the coordination we have to do with the states. Now, as far as the implementation side is concerned, we are actually quite far down the track on it. We are quite well prepared, and if we had a deadline of April 1, 2016 to do the implementation, we could get it done. Now, on the other hand, we also have the legislative calendar. Once it's passed in the Rajya Sabha with a 2/3 majority, we have to get 50% of the states also to pass it. And once it's passed in the states, we have to get the GST bill passed in Parliament. The GST bill is where we will actually establish the rate structure, the rates, and very importantly, what goods and services are going to be in which aspect of the rate structure. So all of that will have to be sorted out in the GST bill. That GST bill will then have to be passed by all the states as well, so that it can be law in the states. And it is this legislative calendar which is more challenging than the implementation calendar. As I said, the implementation calendar and the work we have to do on the implementation side is actually moving along quite well.
So therefore it means October 1 would be, can it be done halfway through the year, or does it necessarily have to be at the start of a financial year for ease of sort of for companies or whatever to implement it? And even how would you prepare your own budget without knowing when it is happening?
No, you're exactly right. Those are in fact the challenges of starting it in the middle of the financial year. So we are obviously, taking into account all of these factors as we decide. On the whole, though, there is no reason why, if we think the benefits outweigh the cost, that we can't start it in the middle of the financial year.
Are you going for the kill now?
So that's part of what we have to work through right now.
That's the next round. Okay. So that's the soft part there from Samir. Let me turn to my right now. Sunil Singhania, the microphone is yours. Your question to the Minister of State for Finance.
Yeah. Hello, sir. The first year of the new government, we saw a lot of, talk. And the last 3-4 months, in particular, we are seeing signs of actually, walking the talk. Do you think this can be accelerated further? Because at least the signs of better coordination between political parties are now very, very visible. So GST is one, but do you think that in an environment where the global growth is slow, we have had a deficient monsoon, new things which have been on the government's agenda but which have taken some time. So can we see some acceleration there?
So are you politely saying that out of 18 months, 15 months was all talk?
No, I think the first year, obviously, a lot of things needed to be in place in terms of the background work.
Yeah.
I think that has been done, and frankly, we did lose 3-4 months at least, the last 3-4 months, and we need to make up for that.
Okay,
right?
Mr. Sinha.
Yeah, I'll very politely and with all due respect reject that premise. I think we've been very active and busy for the entire 18 months. We've got a tremendous amount done. And whether it is stabilizing the macroeconomy, which we did in short order in less than 12 months, or whether it's the broad and deep structural reforms that we've effected, and whether you look at coal, whether you look at mining, you can look at the financial sector. What I will say, for example, in the financial sector, is that in a decade, not a single deposit-taking institution was licensed. And in the last 18 months, we've licensed 23 deposit-taking institutions. So I can go on and on, whether it's the Jan Dhan Yojana, whether it is what we've got from the coal auctions. It's what we've done, of course, now with the DISCOM revival. So I utterly reject the notion that, we've really only got to work recently. We've been working very, very vigorously for the last 18 months, and the results are there to see. And in fact, today is a good day to see the results, because you see the momentum in the economy. You see manufacturing growing at over 9%. It's also today that we are inaugurating, those two very large contracts that have been awarded for locomotive manufacturing. And this doesn't happen overnight. I'd like to remind you all. This requires considerable work behind the scenes. It requires a lot of negotiations. All that has gotten done. Whether, again, you look at highways where we've gone from 2 or 3 kilometers a day to over 20 kilometers a day now. We've had to work through a number of roadblocks, literally, and challenges to be able to sharply accelerate road construction like we have right now. So we've been very busy. I think the results are in front of you.
S. Naren, your question.
Thank you for the opportunity. From the government side, I would like to know what is it you've been most unhappy about in the economy, and therefore your biggest priority for the next 1 year? I mean, leave aside GST and these kind of things.
No, that's a great question, Naren. Thank you for asking that. I wouldn't say that we are unhappy with anything. I mean, we expected much of what we found when we came into office, so we weren't surprised. I think the biggest challenge that we've found, frankly, is that the execution capacity in government has genuinely atrophied over the last decade or so. And so now that we've come in and we're pushing hard and we're trying to get a lot of things done, many of the mechanisms that are necessary to get things done quickly and effectively really have to be rebuilt. I'll give you a specific example, which is on the disinvestment side. As you know, during Atalji's government, of course, we had done strategic disinvestments, but the UPA government had not done that. And so we've had to come in and work through all the processes necessary to be able to do strategic disinvestment. So that in itself has taken us time to be able to build that up. And of course, what you expect in policy making, what you expect in any government is dynamic and continuous reforms, dynamic and continuous strengthening of the state and the state capacity. That had really languished in the last decade. And so not only are we coming in and having to work through a lot of complicated policy issues and policy decisions, at the same time, we are building state capacity as well. And for we've revamped the transfer posting system. We have introduced ways in which we can monitor project delivery much more quickly. We have ensured that corruption has come down, that governance quality is improved. All of that is to strengthen state capacity as well.
Nilesh?
Good evening, sir. Congratulations on completing the first 18 months and wishing you the very best for the next 42 months. My question is that India's rural economy has truly been a huge anchor for the overall Indian economy over all these years. It's been a huge differentiator. But obviously that part of the economy has been under stress, partly because of the monsoon situation. Any specific thoughts in terms of how do we get the rural economy back to its growth path? Of course, I think the biggest indicator of that is the agriculture growth rate, which still continues to be around 1 or 2% versus the overall economy growing between 6 to 8%. Of course, we keep hearing from the government a lot of big ideas on infrastructure, roads, rails, but we've yet to hear anything, any of the big ideas on the rural side or on the agriculture side. So what is the thought process in the government on this side? Because I think that's very, very important for India to kind of grow at a much faster pace along with other sectors of the economy.
Yeah, Mr. Sinha?
Thank you, Nilesh. You are now talking about the real finance minister in this economy, which is, of course, the monsoon. So we are very dependent on the monsoon, obviously, because 60 to 70% of India is linked to agriculture in terms of employment, income, and livelihood. And at the same time, some 50 or 60% of our arable land is not irrigated. And therefore, the monsoon rainfall, and particularly the distribution of the monsoon rainfall, makes a huge difference, particularly to the agricultural economy. Now, I would not agree with you when you say that, you hear big ideas ideas in one side of the economy and you don't hear any big ideas as far as agriculture is concerned. Because our government is not about big ideas, it's about delivering results for people. And whether it is on the non-agriculture side or the agriculture side, we are delivering results, and that of course is what our focus is. I won't talk about what we're doing on all the other sectors of the economy. I've touched on that a little bit. Let's just talk agriculture. Now, in agriculture, we have outlined 4 or 5 very important things, of which implementation is already moving forward very, very quickly. Number one, and I think this is a real game changer for agriculture, we've said that we are going to launch a Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which means that 50-60% of our arable land which is not irrigated is going to be irrigated. The moment you start to irrigate your fields, you're able to grow not 1 but 3 crops a year. When you grow 3 crops a year, you reduce food inflation, obviously food production goes up, you generate more income for your farmers, and of course that results in more rural prosperity and more consumption. So irrigation is a game changer, and we are absolutely determined to move forward, and we are moving forward on irrigation. Secondly, we are also working on the soil health card. Pilots for that have already started, and what we're doing with soil health card is to be able to explain to farmers through extension services and so on what kinds of crops grow best in their soil. So that's what the soil health card will do. Number 3, we are strengthening and providing a lot more credit for agriculture. A lot of agricultural credit so far has been focused only on crop loans. We are dramatically increasing investments in agriculture for investments, for greenhouses, for pumps, for drip irrigation, for all of those kinds of capital investments. We are dramatically increasing agricultural credit.